Welcome to Kickin with the Rickens, redefining retirement. Jerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost want to help you retire with purpose and live with joy. Find more information, including how to reach the team, in today's show notes. Now, Kickin with the Rickens, powered by Ricken Financial.
As always, thanks for streaming Kickin with the Rickens, redefining retirement podcast. We are here with retirement planner Heidi Ricken Provost. I'm sorry, let me back up there. I should say international TV star Heidi Ricken Provost. I don't know if it's international, but it sounds really cool to say it that way.
Local, but still.
No, international.
Sounds fantastic. International supermodel and TV star Heidi Ricken Provost.
How about that? Let me start the whole thing over again real quick. And I'm going to say, hold on. No, I'm just kidding. And we are here with the retirement planner and international supermodel and TV star Heidi Ricken Provost. Was this your debut across local TV?
It was. I had the pleasure of going to KMOV Channel 4 and spending some time with them this week, hanging out with Matt Chambers. He is a meteorologist, but also a TV host, and a lot of fun, by the way. I think we could have too much fun together, kind of like you and I have too much fun when we see each other together. But yeah, we got to have some fun and record some segments for them so that we could, talk about how we can help people improve their financial world and their tax world when they go to retire.
So do you get red light syndrome where the red light comes on and you get a little nervous and you get a little buttoned up? Or, I mean, you're obviously pretty comfortable when we do these podcasts and the radio show and all that. But when it comes to TV, do your nerves kick in or are you just as relaxed?
Okay, you know what the craziest thing in the world was? I've been in your TV studio that you guys have at your office, and there are human beings standing behind the camera, per usual. In this TV studio, the only people in the studio were myself, Matt, and the woman who was there to, be my greeter, to take pictures of me. But it was just the three of us, and all of the cameras and everything else is produced behind a black wall so that you feel more comfortable. And they have like robotics that they can move the cameras around and everything. And it was, I looked at him, I'm like, I want to hang out in this studio every day. And the crazy thing is, my very first public speaking class in high school, I threw up in the trash can during my speech because I was so nervous. And now I'm like, stick me on a stage, whatever. Before I get there, I have nerves that I'm going to sound like an idiot. And then the second I sit down and do something, I don't know. I'm just so comfortable with it. And I love, bringing our education to the community. So I think, I don't know, it's clearly one of my purposes.
When you write your book one day, the byline should be from throwing up in a trash can to hosting seminars, conferences, radio, TV, and podcast.
That'll be my personal biography byline.
But it's funny you say that because I do a lot of hosting. I do a lot of MC work. And recently, I'm going back to the Atlanta Braves for the 2026 season. I'm their in-game host, and I took a couple of years off, and I'm going to go back for a modified season. Really excited about that. Like, I'm that guy on the big screen giving away all the prizes at every home game for the Braves. And I recently got to host their in-game staff orientation. About 200 people in the room, 250 people in the room. And these are all people, they're just staff members, and I'm just kind of keeping it flowing and introducing the speakers. Heidi, I got so nervous. Like, I got dry mouth, like in the middle of this situation. Mark. But you know what that means to me? And I've been doing this my whole life. It means every time I get nervous, it means I still care.
Of course.
Now, the dry mouth was new because of these new fake teeth. So I'm still trying. To get used to that.
Hey, but they're looking good.
They're so white. But the fact that you laughed, you said, I threw up in a trash can. It's funny. I'll get the same feeling every single time when I step out on the field at Truist Park before we do a game. Doesn't matter if it's opening day, postseason, or a Tuesday in August. I still get nervous. And the day you don't get nervous is the day, for me, the day that I don't care anymore. So I kind of take that as a challenge.
Oh, yeah. And now I can't wait to come to Atlanta for a game this season and see you in action. We got to make it happen.
Let's go. Come on. How do you think the family would feel like if you bring a bunch of St. Louis fans down here to watch a Braves game? We'll get you all decked out in Braves gear. Would that be like blasphemy? Can't do it.
Well, opening day is kind of like a holiday here, and Jerry and I are actually my first ever opening day. We're going this year.
Really?
So my dad and my sister have gone for decades together. And my mom and I finally this year were like, okay, we have FOMO. When is it? And since we planned in advance, we're going with them. So I'm very excited.
That's awesome.
But, you know,
Cardinals
the
fans.
Cardinals have had a few rough years,
Yeah.
but we're still fans around here.
And I think Cardinals and Braves fans, there's a long history. There's a deep history with these organizations. And I think there's a mutual respect for each other as well. We came up with last summer, went to a game when the Braves were actually in town, had a great time. Chip Carey, your broadcaster, he used to work for the Braves, part of the whole, Carey family and that huge legacy. So yeah, it's a love of baseball, and it's, always a lot of fun. But yeah, I'd love to have you guys down here at any time. So, as we're talking about family and we're talking about the good things in life, well, this week here on the Kickin with the Rickens podcast, let's talk about the not so fun things, death, because it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Death is unfortunately a part of life. And, we keep it real around here. So sometimes when we're not 100% filled with joy, we also have a little grief going on. We need to talk about it. So I was sharing with you off camera that in the last 11 months, my husband and I have lost our remaining grandparents. So 11 months ago, my mom's dad passed away, and he was 96. And then a couple months ago on Thanksgiving morning, actually, my last remaining grandparent passed away, Grammy, my mom's mom, and she was 95. And just last week, we lost my husband's grandmother. So, I feel really lucky that we had grandparents in our 30s. I feel very lucky about that. But it's been really tough. I mean, I know that his Nana has only been in my life for a little over a decade, but I feel like I've known her my whole life. She was one of those people that she's Italian. She actually immigrated from Italy with her husband, Frank. And, I was saying, I just think it's so honorable. She actually lived the American dream. She and Frank came over from Italy. They started from the ground up with nothing. They didn't have family here. To see what she created needs to be honored and remembered. And I actually am in complete awe of what she created. And she had such a beautiful family that she showed love to all of us through the kitchen, like most Italians do. And every single Sunday, didn't matter what was going on in the world, every Sunday was Sunday dinner, and the entire family. So my mother-in-law and her siblings and their kids and, their spouses, everyone came to Nana's house, and she cooked Sunday dinner every Sunday. And it's been a big hole in our hearts the last few times we've been to town, because they live in Boston, that she wasn't at home anymore cooking Sunday dinner because she had some cognitive issues that put her into a facility for her safety. It was a pretty big hole in our hearts that we didn't have that. And now, without her here, we just need to navigate the new world without grandparents in it, which sounds so crazy, but we learned so much from everything that they lived through.
Yeah.
That I'm going to miss the days that I got to hang out. Everyone else knew better, and they would not help her in the kitchen. But, when we would stay there, I would wake up early and help on Sundays. And if I didn't do it right, which God knows how you bread chicken properly, but if you didn't do it right, you got a little smack, and
I love
kindly, but just hey, don't do it that way, do it this way. And I'm going to miss cooking with her because it was so entertaining.
Now, you said everyone knew better about cooking and being in the kitchen. Is that because they didn't want to get the love smacks if they got it wrong?
Yeah, 100%. They all were like, you need to get out of her way. But I'm like, guy, this was, years ago. I'm like, she's like almost 90 years old and cooking in the kitchen by herself. And they're like, get out of her way. And I'm like, I want to go help. And I walked in and she'd be like, you can do the work, which I appreciated, because she put so much love and care into it. And they all were kind of like, how is she? God love her. She came off the boat, and she still, to the day she died, she had no idea how to say my name. It was so funny. Like, Heidi somehow started with a K, but I know.
Heidi.
Yeah.
Heidi.
But I had so much fun being in that kitchen with her, even though everyone else was kind of like, I don't know why she would let me try, but then she would show me how she cooks, because Nana did it right.
Right. It's
Hmm.
it's those life lessons that you take away, and it's those moments. And as we're talking about grandparents, my dad passed away. This week was the 9-year anniversary of dad passing away, F cancer. And I miss him for a gabillion reasons. Just every day I think about my dad. But one thing that
Hmm.
hurts the most, and that I guess it angers me the most about everything, is that he's not able to see his granddaughters grow up,
Uh-huh.
because my daughter Caroline was very young when he passed away. My brother's girls were also young, a little bit older. They got a little more time. But that's what kind of, out of all the situation, like just talking about just being in the kitchen. I have a picture of
Hmm.
dad cooking and Caroline being right. And she was just a baby. And I was like, God, that's the stuff that it happens. We're all going to die eventually. But I try not, and I try to be grateful for every single moment we had together. But it's just those little things where it's almost like I can't shake. That's what makes me mad about this whole situation.
But that's also what makes you human, Mark,
Yeah.
because as human beings, we're allowed to grieve
Mm-hmm.
and we're allowed to be upset about what we miss out on with the people we love. I would give anything to have had my grandpa at my wedding, but he
Mm-hmm.
didn't make it there. And he was like the most important person in my world. But that's just what happens,
Yeah.
And I think there is no right or wrong answer for how we grieve or handle the losses in our life, you know?
So
There's no guidebook here
that's
for
true.
how we're
Yeah.
supposed to handle it, and just all of a sudden you just wake up one day and you say, okay, I'm just accepting it, thank you, this is what happened. No,
Yeah.
I mean, we're still allowed to have those tough moments.
But I think that's also where you and Jerry and the entire team at Ricken Financial, this is where y'all step in, because for a lot of people, when someone passes away, your world gets flipped upside down. Even if you have that portfolio, everything is to a T, and it is
Hmm.
legacy, inheritance, will, all that is done perfectly. But when that happens, you're still just in a bit of a fog and a haze. And I think that's where, and I'm not blowing smoke here, but I think that's what y'all do a really good job, is to step up and say, all right, let us help you through these trying times. And I know you see it all the time.
Well, of course, because this is the worst point in time in your life. When you lose someone you love, there you're I would rather you be consumed with your grief and able to work through your feelings and process them about the person you love, and not be held back about, well, what am I going to do about the finances now?
Yeah.
Because at that point in time, it's more important to be a human being than to be your own family's financial planner.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something that we do. One of our services is all of the clients that we work with, we're going to deep dive into your trust and your will and your estate plan and what it's going to look like. And then, we are aging every single day, and we have walked through this walk with quite a few of our clients that we've lost in the past few years. And when that happens, we do step in and we help you with the financial component of death, because you shouldn't have to do any of it alone. And any way we can help reduce the stressors in your life when you're going through a stressful and horrible time in your life, we're here for that. And, we were talking about all the different ways you can inherit money when we were, off the
Yeah. Before we got
podcast
rolling
one
here
day.
this week. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Thanks for helping me out there.
We're a team here,
Um,
buddy.
Oh yeah. And it's crazy how small little changes during your lifetime can make a huge impact for generations. And there's a bunch of different ways that you can inherit money. The first is going to be life insurance. And if I've said it once, I'm going to say it 5 million times. And this comes to mind too recently, because I know it's a very controversial topic, but how odd that celebrities who have passed away recently have this happening to cover them too. But GoFundMe is not life insurance. If you need life insurance for death benefit to take care of your family members, then you want to ensure that you have the proper life insurance in place, and you don't have to rely on the assistance of others to step in and help out your family through GoFundMe or something like that. But life insurance, when you receive life insurance proceeds, that death benefit is always going to come to you tax free. So that's dollar for dollar, something that you can pay off debts with or replace your loved one's income with, or whatever the case may be. Maybe your parents were older and they had life insurance in the event that they needed long-term care and they didn't utilize all of that death benefit. So you have a death benefit that goes to the family as well. So that's one way we can inherit money is through life insurance, and that's always tax-free. Then we have what's called a step up in basis. So say you inherit a home from your parents. Well, if they bought that house for, I don't know, $90,000 or $100,000, 25, 30, 40, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, and it's worth $800,000 now, if you sold it before they passed away, or you inherited it before they passed away, you would have to pay capital gains tax on the gain there. But if you inherit it the day that they pass, whatever the value is on the day that you inherit that asset becomes your cost basis. So if it was valued at $800,000 and you sold it for $800,000, you don't have to pay any capital gains taxes on that. So that's, another way you can kind of avoid taxation, because we have met with a couple people lately who asked that question, should I put my kid on my deed of my home before I die? And the answer is always no, put the transfer upon death or the payable upon death, the beneficiary deed for them, but don't add them to that deed if you don't need to, because then we create a future tax problem. Same happens with, your stock portfolio, any of your non-retirement funds that are in a stock portfolio. If you have gains in those, whatever the value is on the date of the passing of the person that you inherit that from becomes your cost basis, and you don't have to pay additional capital gains, from whatever their gain was over the course of their lifetime. So there's a couple different ways we can help skirt taxation when we inherit funds. And then, if you inherit bank accounts, there's really no taxation there as well. That's just cash money coming to you. And then we have retirement funds. And the IRS likes to keep things complicated. So we changed the tax code on this a couple times. And the most recent tax code change, let's dive into that, because there's still some misconceptions about how it works if you inherit a Roth or a traditional IRA.
Okay.
So Roth, just to go back in time and explain real quick, Roth is the money that we fund after tax. So you pay the tax up front, you fund it after tax. It grows tax deferred. And as long as you're over the age of 59 and a half and it's been there 5 years, it comes out tax-free to you. So Roth is tax-free, income when you pull the money out. Well, if you pass away and a non-spouse, so your kids or your nieces or nephews or the grandkids, anyone who's not your spouse inherits your Roth, yes, it will still be tax-free for them, but they have 10 years to drain the Roth and reinvest it however they'd like to. So they don't have to pay tax when the money comes out of it, but by the end of the 10 years, it can't stay in Roth form and continue to be tax-free for them for the rest of their life. So, there's always little nuances there, but you need to find something else to invest that. If you need to live on that money, obviously you can live on that money tax-free, but if you inherit a Roth from someone who's not your spouse, you have to find a way to utilize it in the next 10 years. And then traditional funds. If you inherit a traditional IRA from someone who is your spouse, it just becomes your own, and it'll follow the required minimum distribution that you would have to take if it was your own IRA. But if it's from a non-spouse, so say I inherited a grandparent's or a parent's IRA, you have 10 years to pull all of the money out of that IRA and pay taxation on it. Some people do it up front. Some people spread it over the 10 years. But it's going to add some tax to you for the next 10 years. So it's just something you need to plan for. And one of the things that we look at when we do tax planning for our clients when it comes to their estate, because our philosophy, if you've ever tuned in before, we believe in paying your fair share of taxation. But if there's a way to avoid anything beyond that fair share, we're here to walk you through that. So, just a little bit of insight into the different ways you can inherit money. And maybe, you think about this in the back of your mind, why we might suggest different ways to tax diversify your risk during your lifetime, so that during your lifetime and when you're no longer with us, your money goes to the people you love most and not the IRS.
Amen. So as we slowly start to put a bow on this week's Kickin with the Rickens podcast, what would you tell somebody who's listening to this? And we always invite you to share this show to your friends, to your family who just needs a little information, a little bit of education from the team at Ricken Financial. What would you tell somebody who's just getting started? They want to put their legacy plan together. They want to start, they're thinking, I want to leave something to the family. I want to make sure that my kids are taken care of, the grandkids. What's the first step?
The first step is defining what you want things to look like. And when you come in and you see us and you say, I want to leave a legacy that looks like this, then the professionals can help you create that. But if you don't really know what your goals are or your wishes are, it's going to be pretty tough to put that plan in place. Mm-hmm. And then, be ready for some tough conversations, because anytime we talk about death and when we plan for our estate and our legacy, we unfortunately do have to talk about our impending demise one day. Just be ready to talk through it. And if you need some time, completely fine. There is no, you have to get this done in one day for it to work effectively. It's going to take a little bit of time to put your plan in place, to fund it and everything. So, be open, but also give yourself a little bit of grace, because at the end of the day, you're a human being.
Amen. And we don't have to get heavy into this one, but you can also build plans so that the kids get nothing because that last check, it could bounce.
Yes. You do have permission to spend your money.
That's
Thank
right.
you, because a lot of people need to hear that. You have permission to spend your money you worked really hard to save.
Yep.
100%.
That's it. Well, Heidi Ricken Provost, international TV star, thank you for the information and the education. And thank you for streaming this week's Kickin with the Rickens podcast. Again, we invite you to share this with somebody who could use the information and just enjoy a conversation about your portfolio, about your life's work from the team at Ricken Financial. Get all the information, how to reach out to the team. You can find it here in the show notes. We're back next week, but Miss International TV star, take us home.
Every day is a holiday. Life is short. Laugh hard.
This has been Kickin with the Rickens, redefining retirement.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Ricken Financial LLC. Ricken Financial LLC is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Ricken Financial LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Ricken Financial LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Ricken Financial LLC.
Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.
Tax preparation and tax advisory services are offered through Ricken Financial. These services are not offered by IPW and are not subject to investment advisor requirements. These services referenced are an outside business activity not offered through or supervised by IPW.